Fishing trips anywhere, anytime. FishingBooker.com.
Welcome to the Habitat Podcast, the podcast for wildlife habitat management, hunting strategy, and land stewardship. And now, your host, Jared Van Hees.
Welcome to the Habitat Podcast.
I'm your host, Jared Van Hees, and we are here to become better habitat managers. Welcome back, everybody. We are looking at the first week of June here when you are listening to this podcast, and I hope you guys are doing well. I hope you got all the spring food plot stuff in with all the rain we've been getting. I know we've been busy. Today, Andy and I are back with my good friend, Mr. Jordan Hanks, out of Southern Illinois. He's our HP crew member down there in the southern part of the state. We just call to catch up. We talk about some NRCS. I wouldn't want to call it a highlight, more of a horror story. We talk about planting right now. We talk about taxidermy. We talk about some of our goals this fall. Great, we talk about logging and loggers. He's got 40 acres he bought down there getting logged. Great habitat conversation, relatable and relative to the time of year we're all dealing with right now. I do want to welcome a brand new partner of the show. I know we talked about Face Off e-bikes. They came on, mentioned them last week. Another new partner is Antler Anchor Company. Guys, these awesome pieces of equipment, trying to find my hat, are really well built. They're made to hold shed antlers on the wall. They're all metal. They will not break. I see there's some other 3D printed versions and stuff out there. I don't know. These are badass. These are nice. They're shiny. They're high quality. Great way to hang your shed on the wall. Take your shed off, show it to a buddy, put it back up. Pretty cool thing. They also have European mount, your European rack, European style skull holders as well. And I'm a boater. I like boating. So the logo to this company is awesome. Anchor with antlers. Are you kidding me? That's right up my alley. So really happy to be partnered up with Ryan over there. Ryan's been on the Patreon group for quite a while now. He's been a supporter of the podcast for years. Awesome guy, awesome company to be partnered with here at the Habitat Podcast. So check him out. There'll be a link in the show notes. Follow him on Instagram, and we will be back with more info with Ryan here in the future. Thanks for checking out all of our partners. Good luck to everybody who's up at the Total Archery Challenge this weekend. I'll be at Cedar Point with my son celebrating his birthday, but it's always a good time going to shoot that. Kind of bummed I'm missing it. So have fun, keep up the projects, and we'll be back next week with another episode of the Habitat Podcast. Thank you, everybody.
Hey guys, Al here, Vitalize Seed. I hope you all are doing well. So we got a lot of new things happening at Vitalize this year, and I wanted to highlight some of those. First off, we got a brand new website. We just added a chat feature to that website, so you can get your answers to your questions in real time or as fast as possible. Those actually come directly to us, so we can answer those questions, as well as has some auto answer features for those frequently asked questions. So trying to further increase the customer service that we offer. Number two is we are offering bundles now. So we got a lot of questions about people trying to piecemeal things together. So we took the guesswork out of it for you. You want a fertility bundle? Add that to your cart, and it gives you all of our natural fertility products in one place. We also are adding bulk pricing. So been asked about this in the past, and we've done some, kind of one-off things. But for those people who are buying, 5, 10, 15 acres, depending on the product, we're going to be offering some bulk pricing options for that. So right now we got that up on Nitro Boost. We also are going to have that up for the Clover Chicory and Oats offering, and might expand that to other offerings as well. Other things are new products. So we got our annual clover. That's a fantastic product for frost seeding and also for this early spring, especially for those who still want to plant Nitro Boost. They want to get that annual clover established. You could go in and drill your Nitro Boost right through, broadcast through it, mow it off, spray it off, etc. We got our Premium Clover Plus. I'm using that on all my logging trails. That's a fantastic product. I'm also using that often with our clover, chicory, and oats mix. So I might use clover, chicory, oats in the first year on my logging trails like I did last fall. Let those oats come in, they'll die off, and then I can frost seed my premium clover and chicory over top of those trails now. So those are areas where I want a perennial crop growing. So I'm using that mix. And then we added our brassica mix as well. We of course have our seed feed and seed armor. Those are selling fantastic, and various other products, guys. So please check us out at vitalizeseed.com. We sure do appreciate you, and we're looking forward to a fantastic 2025.
It's Zen.
Don't mess with me. I have enough technical difficulties as it is, dude.
No, that deer back there, this was him 2 or 3 years ago. As like I don't know, I don't think he's even 3 yet.
Okay.
He's only like 5 maybe, but I ain't put a tape on him, but he's well over 200.
So what's the fun is just Shannon's raising deer and you're practicing and be nice to display the sheds over time type thing, or what's the idea there?
I just want to mount something. I was going to mount something big.
Yeah.
So the guy I trained with, he's given me this company here. It's a patent pending deal, the Naked Buckhead. But for sheds, I like it because it's got the skull plate.
Okay.
That I could screw and bondo to the actual texture, the form of the deer. It's got 100-pound magnets. So I kind of Dremel off the bottom of the shed and get it flush, and then I'll screw and mount these into the antler, and then I screw a piece of metal that comes with it here, and they basically lock like that.
Oh,
so
wow.
I can take them off. I don't know if you can see this or not.
Holy cow. Off the deer racket, or off the mounted deer itself.
So, you could actually mount one deer and just switch the antlers around on it as time or whatever,
Wow.
You have a bunch of big antlers, you want to swap them out, you could just mount one nice big mount, and then throughout the year, whatever, switch the antlers on it.
That's crazy. A lot of technology coming out in the shed world, it seems.
Yeah. No, those are pretty cool. I like him. He pointed them out to me, and I looked them up and got them. Better to me, it's better than mounting them permanent. It's hard to mount them permanent because it's hard to get them even. It's still hard to get them even the magnets, but at least I can twist and turn a little bit and make them, But the levelness is really hard. Like I said, I had to Dremel them out and everything and try to get a flush side.
Well, I mean, if guys are a farm deer or something like that where they want to add their different sheds to and keep the same mount, that's that's super interesting to me. I know that like this logo on my hat here, can you see that?
See the bottom of it?
Yeah, it's I'm a boater, so we have an anchor, we have a rack. That's a new partner of ours, Antler Anchor Company. We're going to be hearing more about them real soon. They make really nice CNC aluminum brackets for the wall.
Mm-hmm.
And you can throw a shed in and it sits like this and it sits sideways on the wall.
Right.
And then you can pop it out and swap your sheds as well. They make a Euro holder too, kind of like that one that we used to work with way back when. But this is just like the shed antler. You hang it on the wall sideways.
Right.
Yours is like you can trade the antlers off of the buck mount, which is crazy.
Yeah, my dog's right here begging for attention if you hear anything.
I don't think I met that dog yet.
Nope. My adopted dog.
Yep. Well, I think Andy just joined us. I don't know if he figured out how to work his technology yet either, but we're getting there.
Let him click on and talk to the dog.
We're interviewing a dog tonight. So what have you been up to, man? Everybody probably recognizes your voice. Jordan Hanks, Habitat Podcast member out of Southern Illinois, Vitalized Seed dealer, good friend of mine. Been hunting down there quite a bit. What have you been doing?
Just working and watching the rain, trying to get this taxidermy thing going. I tore this room out. You remember the old room? I started the week after Christmas, tore all this out, and then redone it all. And then I mounted a few deer heads, and I was like, "Oh, this ain't going to work." So I knocked the next room out where the old workbench was underneath the loft, tore all that out, enclosed that, so all my hunting stuff's over there, and basically just give me a big enough wall to let stuff dry on. And I've already got, I don't know, it's kind of crazy. I'm just getting into it, but I enjoy it. Should have done it a long time ago, but my dog is driving me nuts. Get down. Should have done it a long time ago.
I told you. I told you.
Everybody told me. I just don't like listening to people.
What up, Hutchie?
Much. How you doing, brother?
Good, man. Remember Jordan?
Oh yeah, how you doing, buddy?
I don't know. Trying to get my dog to calm down, but she wants to be famous too.
You're on the wrong show.
Dude, that's not true. I have like 7 followers. I don't know what you're talking about. Famous. What do you said? So Ryan signed up?
Yeah, Ryan is on board at Antler Anchor Company.
Nice.
Yep.
Nice.
So Jordan was just showing this other mount, this little bit different, where you can put the buck antler in the deer head and take it off.
Okay.
You see that one? The little one in the middle.
Yep, that little guy. But you should have let it go another year. Okay. Is that on a mount?
Yeah, I mounted that. I'm working on it again today. It's finishing up drying on some of the liquid I put in the eyes to make them look wet. Tomorrow I'll hit it with a gloss and get her combed out again, and she'll be done tomorrow, and I'll probably do it.
But you're able to pull the antlers off and like hold on to them like a shed.
Yeah, they got 100-pound magnets on them and a skull plate that's
cool.
That I can mount to the form and then mount the magnets to the sheds.
All right.
So Jordan, like we mentioned, you've been obsessed with deer your whole life. You've been on this podcast many times. I've known you for a long time now. Killed your own 200-inch plus deer, 213 or 14, I believe.
17.
The guys, not trying to shortchange you, but the guys ate up with it. And in your area of the woods, tell us about kind of the need for taxidermy and kind of how this all came about.
There's still a few taxidermists around. Hunting's been really good the last several years, but it's like all the older guys that were like, really good, they're retiring and nobody's picking it up. And there's a few, and I mean, everybody's seen or heard some taxidermy horror stories, and I have an art background with college on art scholarship, and I just never got into this because there's one down the road. When I was out of high school or college, there was a taxidermist in every town, and now they're all kind of retiring, and there's a few people jumping in there, but the hunting's been good too. I mean, I was driving 2 hours north to my guy till he retired. So then I was driving 2 hours south to another guy, and I was paying some better money, but I was wanting a good mount, some of my bigger record book deer, and it was getting kind of hard to find that one that's going to last a while, or just around here anyways. So, and everybody's got their own way of doing it. I'm finding out there's a gazillion different ways, like there is with everything else you do. Taxidermy the same way, but I'm still learning. Went up, got recommended by one of my old taxidermists. That guy named Julian Loker was one of the top dogs right now. He really talked pretty highly of him. So I got a hold of him, and I ended up going up to Iowa about 4.5 hours. Spent a week, 3 days up there, middle of the week with him, and just kind of shadowed him, mounting some deer and going through some things, and then come home and took off doing it. So I'm up to 6 or 7 now, I think. I really don't even know. I have to go back and think. I got one sitting here that I got to get finished caping out. Neighbor kid shot it back in 23 and couldn't find taxidermist, so it's been in the freezer, and it is freezer burnt. So I am fighting it right now, and we're going to try to save it. A couple of them are pin deer. That's the one I killed last year. That one's 6011, and then that's the one I found at work years ago. It's like 171, and then the shed buck. He's a little over 200. I ain't put a tape all the way on him yet, but he's over 200. So it's fun mounting some big deer. That kind of catches people's attention, and you start rolling out 220-inch deer. He's actually got one set that I didn't grab. He wants me to do it, but I was kind of hesitant doing that big that early, but it's going to go like 270 or something like that.
Jeez.
Damn.
But it's big. And he's got some really nice ones from Iowa. And Jared's held some of them. I don't know if I'll ever mount those or not, but they're 200, 220.
It's just cool to be able to do something like that for a friend or somebody who want find some sheds and want a cool way to put them on an actual deer. That's neat. That's cool. You're doing that.
I've got 2 sets of sheds mounted here in my wall in the shop, and that was that Mountain Mike's skull, and they were nice sheds, 150-inch set, 160s. And I just didn't want to screw them permanent, but that was the only option at the time. To where now I guess I'm still screwing to the antler or the magnet and stuff, but at least you can take the antler off and be like, hey, check this out. You can hold it, and really kind of get an idea of, how big it really is,
Well, I've seen some of your paintings and stuff that you've done, and I knew you were artistic. So I thought, if you're patient enough to do that, which you are, I think you're going to do great, man. And I think anybody who's in your area, I mean, I don't know, do people do taxidermy across the state, or they just go locally normally?
I think it's just your preference. I mean, prices are kind of all over. Ohio Taxidermy Supply put out a post a while back, and it went through every state, and it put the average of what a deer shoulder mount cost in that state. And right now, the average in Illinois is $793 was the average across the state for just a shoulder mount.
Wow.
I think that's where we're at up here is like around
And-
$850.
And, you know, first buck I
850?
ever had mounted was $150. You know, the last pedestal buck I had mounted with drop tine was $1,900. You know,
Yeah.
so I mean, depends on what you want. What I was getting into was I was pursuing somebody, you know, the best of the best. You know, I mean, the last world record at Edgar County, me and him had the same taxidermist. You know, I used the same taxidermist for years as Don Higgins and Adam Crumrin, and the guy was just great, but he was retiring, so he just does personal stuff now and close friends, but kind of learned a lot from him. I'd been around taxidermy a lot, just seeing it. I just never pursued it. I mean, there's one up the road here, and he's getting out of it too. He's retiring, wanting to slow down, and everybody's turning deer down. Nobody can go nowhere. I got Briar's, Andy's daughter that she was here, you know,
Yep.
whenever we blooded her, you know, first deer at 7 years old, it's racks hanging up there. He couldn't find taxidermist. He's going to ship it to Louisiana with Aaron to get mounted. And I'm like, let me come get it. I'll give it a try. Well, I went ahead and did a couple more before I got to it, but I don't know. It's just, it's like everything else, Ford, Chevy, Lamborghini. I don't know. You can do them cheap. And you can get what you pay for. I'm trying to do them not the cheap way. It's actually really expensive, all these materials and stuff that I'm using, and I don't really know about much profit at this level or what I'm starting at, but so far I'm having fun doing it. So
Well, that's good, man. That's important. And I mean, cost has gone up on everything. I've been going to the same taxidermist for probably 12 years. All my mounted deer from the same gal, and I drive 2.5 hours one way just to get to her. And my prices fluctuated, but I'm up towards you for sure. And I think I mean, it's just like you said, it's kind of a dying art, and guys aren't wanting to do it anymore. And you know, I debated going to taxidermy school in Missoula, Montana. My wife went there for grad school, and I'm like, if I move out there to chase her, which I'm gonna do, like, what am I gonna do? You know, I'm like, oh, screw it, I'll go to taxidermy school. But I already know that I am not, you know, as patient or detail oriented as you are, or like my dad is, for instance. So like,
I'm being
there's certain people that can do it.
Though.
Well, that'll change as you get better and you know, and get faster. But what's your backlog already? Do you have a backlog of people?
I've got 3 to do right now.
Yeah, and it's freaking May.
I just
started.
opened in May 1st, and I'm already.
That's cool, man. I'm happy for you. I can't wait to shoot one down there and let you mount it.
And there's taxidermists around here, like I said, but you know, there's several years behind. Guy down the road was down the way he retired years ago, but he was really well known for it. But I mean, it was 5-6 years to get a deer head back.
Wow.
And you know, the average is about 2 years. I mean, not a lot of guys. That's another thing. I was paying kind of some higher prices, but I was getting them back, you know, next summer.
Yeah.
Before, you know, I just don't like that. You're sitting there waiting 2 years to get it back, and you done forgot what he looked like. Or the next year you kill a bigger one, and now you're like, well, shoots, and then you're trying to swap them out. And then I don't know. I just didn't see. I'd never seen a demand for it years ago, but I'm definitely seeing it now. So
good, man.
Try my hand at it.
Well, if anybody's down there in the Southern Illinois, St. Louis, Missouri area, Jordan Hanks is the guy, and I've seen his work already, and I think that one you did for Chris was spectacular. And can't wait, man. You're just gonna get better and better. So that patience thing or being too picky will probably go away with skill and experience, if I had to guess.
Is it like dating? You get older, you just kind of lower your standards.
I don't know if you're gonna lower your standards, but I don't know.
Just keep shooting for the stars.
Yeah, I don't have the right answer for that one, actually. Oh no, man, that's all great. I'm proud of you. That's badass, dude. That's really cool.
We'll see. That one I did it for Chris. That was an old deer. They had like 4 or 5 years of sheds off of him, and that was kind of a challenge. I put a big Rome nose on him like he had. I actually had to cut the head off the form and add a larger head to it. Here's the head that I actually took off of it because it just was not going to work. The deer was just so much bigger than what I had measured, and I had to redo it, put a bigger head on it. I had 8-inch bases on it. I mean, it was just an old pig, scarred up, big old double white patch, but it was and I put a lot of the wrinkles in him. I made the deer look old, to my knowledge. And that's what a lot of times you hear guys say, "Oh, my commercial mounts, I do them this way, but my competition, I do this way." When, there's a lot of different ways to do things, but I do like the detail. I like the muscle in the neck. I like, the jaws hanging if it's an older deer. So that's kind of stuff I'm leaning towards. I'm really just kind of doing more like artwork or something than I am actual taxidermy, but we'll see. It's up and going, so we'll see what happens this fall.
Awesome, man. No, I think it'll be great. I look like I'm sitting in a dark room right now. I'm actually sitting out in my driveway. It was light out when we started this thing, but
who's that standing behind you?
Yeah, exactly. Grim Reaper. Yeah, it's my stress load of tomorrow. Going, go to bed, you idiot. But so you've been getting a lot of rain. We've been talking spring food plots a lot lately on the podcast, and you've been like, dude, I can't even get anything in.
No, we're some of the bigger farmers, bigger equipment's be able to get stuff out. It's raining right now. We started planting our corn 2-3 days ago. My cousin finally started planting. The town kind of where I live by, I think they said they started keeping record back in like 1860 something, but April was the wettest year they had on record. I don't remember. It was like 19 inches or something in April. We've been getting, which we got pounded last year, but this year it's been even worse, and there's just nowhere for it to go. But it's finally starting to dry up some, and I'll be able to get out in the field. The ground's still really, really heavy. I mean, it's still. I did work with food plot today. I did disc it, and it was really heavy. And I ended up running back here right in the rain and put down some border patrol just to slam down the wall, try to get it going before I do anything else. But yeah, spring plots is same thing as last year. Spring plots is not an option this year.
Yeah,
but which is why as I always lean. Everybody who asks, what's your favorite? What's a must-have? I always say clover. Right now, my clover looks great, and they're in it. If I didn't have that, they'd be over on somebody else's clover patch, but it's clover's looking freaking phenomenal. I can't get in there and spray it or mow it and help it do anything, but it's
clean it up.
It's there. It's getting eaten. But
so what? How what was that ground today when you worked there? Are you mostly clay in that bottom?
You can't get to the bottom. I have a better chance of growing catfish down there right now. I was up on the hill by Dad's shack up around high ground.
Yep.
It was pretty heavy. It was really cloddy. I had my little disc on it, but it was it's gonna need it again. I didn't spray nothing. I just went in and basically killed the weeds what I could. And I had wheat in there too last year, so wheat was fairly green.
Okay.
But I had that milo, and the plan was to go in there, put that wheat in there, and I could burn that milo, and the wheat would be green, and it would, stop the fire, and it's going to work perfect. And then it decided to rain 49 inches, and so that never happened.
When did you try to plant the milo?
Right now.
Okay. I know Andy just planted a bunch, I think. Yeah. Andy, you texted me earlier today. You had a take on sorghum, aka milo.
Yeah, I've been doing it for a couple of years. Using it as like where I'd put switchgrass to see if that's where I actually want to have switchgrass. Seems to be working pretty good. I mean, I know a couple spots that I'm not going to plant switchgrass in, and then a couple spots that I'm gonna. But yeah, I just put 8 acres in on Tuesday.
Okay.
And then it rained last night. But I'll take it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and your soil is really sandy. So as everybody's heard 1,000 times on here, why would you not plant the sorghum in a certain area? What did you learn last year, the year before?
I learned that a couple spots they just don't want to cross.
Okay.
A couple spots
they don't want to cross through it.
Yeah. A couple spots I don't want to have, like I don't just watching how the deer, move on the farm itself, and then kind of seeing where, where's a good spot, where's not a good spot. Like one I did 2 years ago, I'm actually gonna plant some switch in here sometime this summer because it's a good spot that I know will work well because of using the sorghum for that. And it's cheap. Sorghum's cheap.
Yeah, I mean a lot of those annual mixes out there, like Jordan mentioned, Border Patrol. I used to plant a bunch of that, or we mess around with one of Vitalize. We might come out with it. A lot of them have sorghum in them, right? Egyptian wheat, sorghum, Sudan, that sort of stuff. It's a good way to determine, like you said, where you might want to plant a permanent screen. Because otherwise you're going to have to depend on this annual screen to get rain and to grow. And they suck up a lot of nutrients. So that's eventually going to have to feed that. So I like that idea, though. It's a good test strip, if you will, to kind of know where you want a permanent screen in the future.
Yep, exactly. Like a miscanthus or whatever you want to do.
Switchgrass, whatever. Norway spruce, etc.
Yep.
No fence.
Hey,
that'll work too.
Some guys talk about fencing all the time. I've seen some fencing on some properties. with some really good deer managers. One was like an 8-foot metal fence. He ran from his blind straight back to his access. And I think that works. It's like a school fence, like you see at school, not the kids get on the playground type thing, right? I can't do the snow fence. I can't look at that any color. I can't do it, but I'll just hinge cut. But Jordan, you ever mess with any fencing?
The original cattle fence that's still there. I mean, back when we still had cattle and I was younger, I'd go through there and I'd grab the top strand and I'd pull it down to like the bottom strand with the deer across there, and then Grandpa would find it and put it back. You know, but in the past years, I've kind of went through the old fence and put the old fence back up, steepled it up the best I could, but I left certain openings in certain spots. I mean, of course, a deer can jump a 4-foot fence, but they'll walk through an opening before they'll jump if they're not spooked or whatever. But so it's actually worked good for funneling. You know, I got them going down certain draws by certain stands. So yeah, it does work. Yeah. Even turkeys are definitely, you can't call a turkey across the fence and cut a hole in the fence. They'll walk right through it.
You mean the pen? You're talking the pen, the turkey pen.
Do what?
You're talking the turkey pen that you hunt them right next to you, right?
No. Actually got some turkeys back here this year. It's kind of surprising. I haven't had a lot of birds over the years and actually got some back here this year.
You've done pretty well over the years with turkey hunting.
Well, I've had to spread out and go certain places or find new places to go, but sorry, my dog got a chew toy and it's going nuts. Yeah, I've been able to spread out and go. I mean, been lucky that way, but our turkey population in Illinois is really kind of where I'm at. It hasn't been doing very well. And it kind of pumped up, I guess, maybe this spring because we had another record harvest like we always do. But the coons and everything, predators are so bad these days that we just don't have the turkeys like we used to.
Yeah, same. We just had a couple show back up here on the farm, a couple jakes and one decent tom, but no hens. One hen. There's one hen running around. And normally, usually we'd have 30, 40 turkeys running around.
Yeah, they released turkeys around here back in like late 80s, early 90s, and they released them. I think the first season the public had out here, I know, was 91, I think. I don't know if that was a county season or just that. My goodness.
Yeah, I know. We just last week, I think, my buddy from Missouri flew in, Ethan, and we it's an annual thing now. We're on our second year, and we didn't think we could top last year. We had three toms killed last year by 8:15, 3 different hunts. This year we had 3 birds killed by 11:30. We missed a bird, and some of the best turkey hunting I've ever seen with a double in there. So, I don't know. We didn't see as many as last year, but then again, the last time we had 10 toms gobbling and coming into no decoys at one time. I mean, 10 different toms. It was insane. So I don't know. I mean, I think it's another discussion about habitat and lack of fence rows, lack of, bolting habitat, lack of fire.
I think our 2 or 3 years of this really, really wet springs we've had, I'm sure is not good on the hatch as well, and then you see some reasons, some of the public ground around here, they start burning it off, about times the hens are getting ready to nest. And it's like, I don't understand why that's a state program, but the odds have been stacked against them, I guess is a good way to put it here the last several years. But and turkey hunting's picking up popular, just like everything else is. Like shed hunting is now getting real popular. So you're seeing more and more out there. Now they opened up a youth season a few years back in my county, and now there's 4 days, or I think the 2 weekends before the season starts. So there's more people getting into it, more youth hunting. This year, Illinois allowed 410. So now you can start. Last year they went to last year, like TSS all come out and everybody else is going 410. Yeah. Illinois didn't, but Illinois did go to 410 this year. So now you're even opening up that window for more people, or maybe a younger group to get into it. So I mean, there's definitely the pressure. Like I said, they said we had a record harvest around here. So I mean, that's good, but I didn't see nothing that was too crazy or anything to get me excited about being a record harvest,
Yeah. You are seeing the deer numbers, though.
That is, yeah. There's been some bills passed. I read on a few of them. I don't know what all is really going on, but the deer have really blowed up. I mean, I think a lot of it has to do, honestly, with some of us older guys that hunted the EHD years and seen how devastating that could be, to where now things are just different. Like I just don't have the kill in my heart anymore.
Yeah.
And
that's a lie, but okay.
And I heard a podcast the other day, heard a cutoff of him. I can't think the guy's name, but he had made a really good point. He's talking about Illinois and maybe Indiana, Iowa, and And I'm seeing it here, some of these out-of-towners or bigger money's coming in, buying the ground up and paying prices that are outrageous. I know you're seeing it everywhere. And then they're not letting anybody hunt, but maybe them, their buddies or whatever. So the state keeps losing control of the herd in that aspect. And it made a good point. There was a lot of agreeable and disagreeable with it, but I kind of was on the side with him because they want to sharpshoot, CWD counties in Northern Illinois. And I've always been against that. And every time I get the little quota or the little survey, I'm always against that. This new bill I read the other day, I don't know if it passed or not, but they were wanting to make it to where the DNR could not sharpshoot in any counties that has not tested positive within 3 years. In return, they're trying to make the nuisance tags easier for farmers to get, which they did last year. But it's odd. Like if you shoot a deer, you have to tag it and bury it with the tag on it. I mean, I don't know why you wouldn't just go donate it or something, open a program up or something like that. There's a lot of iffy things. I don't know if a lot of these rules are being written by people who don't do it, don't hunt. I farm as well. So, Andy, what it's like, I'm sure the deer damage, we've been bad. And, crop insurance doesn't cover wildlife damage.
No.
And it's really, they said last year, Central Illinois lost over 10% of their yields of just deer.
Wow.
And right now for get a deer tag in Illinois, a landowner tag, you got to have 40 acres. I read something about they're wanting to reduce that, or might have reduced that to 20. And the landowner tenant tag used to be like if I farmed Andy's ground, he owned it, but I farmed it and I made so much income off of it, I could get a landowner tenant tag. And then they've also changed the stipulations with that to maybe make it easier to get. I don't know about the nuisance, what's really going to happen with that. They did say, I did read one on it. It said it was antlerless only for the nuisance. So that's kind of nice. Not everybody's out there shooting 160-inch velvet bucks in September saying, oh, he's a nuisance.
Yeah.
But it's your deer hunters are mad. Your farmers are happy. Then there's some of us that are just sitting here like, well, crap. I enjoy seeing it. I remember what it was like when they weren't there at the same time. That's coming out of the back pocket both ways. I'm planting food for them and they're eating this food too. So I'm really get hit from both ends, but I don't know. They keep changing things. Like I went to the 410 for turkey, went to straight wall cartridge. Everything's been changing so much that it's hard to stay on top of. And yeah, I mean, the deer's definitely booming. I had 24 behind the house the other night. I had 14 bucks over here in the field 2 nights ago. And I mean, they were dinks just starting out, velvet and browse and everything, but it's a lot of deer, and that's just in those fields. That wasn't counting the ones across the road coming out of that draw. And it's like, we went from getting our deer herd back to where, it might have been late 2000s, late 90s. And now it's just, I think there's a lot more deer now than there was then. Everybody talks about all the good old days back before this. I was hunting them days too. I didn't see deer like I see now as far as numbers. I mean, there might have been some size different there, but the numbers are outrageous. So I do agree with some of this nuisance and easier tags. I mean, there's really no lottery anymore. Anybody applies for an Illinois tag will get one. It's hard to find the place to hunt. But if we don't do something about it, Mother Nature will fix it for us like it's done before. And I'd much rather see them nuisance shot and taken to a shelter than laying out in the bean field dead. I remember that year where, you cut the beans and there'd be 4 or 5 dead ones out there in the field, and it was they was everywhere. So I don't know. There's a lot of changes going on. I probably need to read more up into it. I don't know what's happened this week with it, but there are some stuff in motion to make tags easier, restrictions less, and more so to help the farmers out a little bit. But the deer herd's thriving. If we don't get dry, which I'm sure we will, just like last year and years back. We're wetter than hell right now. When this rain stops, it's going to stop. It'll rain in October maybe, but if they don't get sick this year, we've been lucky. You've been getting sick around us. But
so do you think that you think the numbers are higher, but the racks are, the growth is not as much than like the late 90s,
growth's there. I guess you didn't see. I mean,
you're just seeing more dinks now than before.
Right. Back when I was a kid, I mean, you hear people killing 150s, 160s. You didn't hear people killing 180s, 200s. And you do now. But the numbers are there. It took, years after the EHD outbreak, because there was no age structure there.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and, the local taxidermy shop, I'd go up there and hang out, and there just wasn't a lot of deer being brought in. And then people started mounting 120, 130s again. And Jared, every deer that comes in, it's not broken. It's all there, And I remember years where it seemed like every deer brought in was broken up. There was just competition out there, and there was a good rut, and there was a lot of deer, and it just kind of died off slow. And I keep It's been 2012. I mean, hell, it's been 20 something years ago, but that affected me hard. I love deer hunting, and that hit hard. And I just like, that's what really kind of spurred me up to the little food plot and digging a little deeper and looking into some of this stuff is like, what can you do to prevent this from happening again? Because I really enjoy doing this, and there was literally nothing. I remember like I had like a 4-pointer and a 6-pointer come in one day, and it was like, I don't even want to shoot a little buck, but it's the only damn deer I've seen in 3 weeks, and fast forward 10 years and, I've killed 2 booners and 2 160s in 4 years, it's just, that's how big of a change it's made.
Yeah.
But I also know that it can all go away very quickly.
Yeah. And Mother Nature, taking care of herself like that. Like I always thought it was crazy that, you have a lot of cameras out. I've hunted down there, I don't know, 3, 4, 5 years now. And I know that you see a deer and Jordan's like, yep, there's 4 does come out right here. Like you had every deer on your acreage, not pedigreed, but partner. And you knew this is where they come out, this is how many there's going to be, and boom, boom, boom. I think I wouldn't be surprised by the sounds of it if that starts changing to where you're like, yeah, I don't know, there's just 10 of them, now there's 20. Like Michigan's going through the same, we've been going through the same thing for quite a while. Nobody here wants to shoot does either. So it's, I don't know. It's one of those things where the habitat can't sustain it. So, but you're so scarred from the EHD years. It's like, what are we going to do? Last year we went on a doe hunt. We were unsuccessful, but we tried.
That's another thing, my county, the next county over, started taking some deer for the local food pantry. So every year I'd been donating 1 doe, and I'd donate more. But it's like, okay, let's go shoot some does, and I will not see a doe. Yeah. It's just I just can't get on them. Some of them old nanny does, I mean, they're harder to hunt than bucks to me, if you ask me sometimes. But and then on one day, it's 97 degrees, and you're like, oh, I really don't mess with it. I want to go. And then 17 of them walk by, and it's like, all right, come on. But yeah, it didn't used to be like that, obviously. But yeah, back to keeping tabs on things. Yeah, the last podcast I mentioned that. I remember asking Jared, what's one thing you could give up if you kind of would like to put down? Mine was trail camera. Maybe just kind of get back off of it again. Well, then last year I went and I shot them 2 bucks that I never had no pictures of. Those said the buck I killed with you, he come through that morning and we got up. But that 160 him out 11, never seen him, nothing about him, just sitting there, and he was the 6th buck that popped out after a hot doe, and who are you, type deal. So just goes to show you that you don't get them all on camera. It's still a surprise.
I just recorded a podcast about that with Ryan Glitsky, talking about not using cameras. And I'm going to not run cameras this year. I'm going to run them. That's not true. I'm going to run them up until season, and then I'm going to pull them, or just leave silkers and check after season. But I'm not going to check. I'm not going to run cell cams. I'm going to go back to straight up just seeing what happens.
BS.
I swear to God, I'm going to do it. I've said it on the podcast. I can't not.
Yes, you're going some excuse. You're going to change it. You're going to keep them out there.
Now that I've broke that threshold and use it as a successful tool, I really can't get away from it.
I'm telling you, I'm going to do it. October 1, those cameras will not either be touched. No cell cameras this year won't be touched, or will be pulled. I'll probably leave them out and just check them at the end of the year.
I'll probably be like, and maybe once in October.
You dumb shit! You should have been sitting
probably twice in November. Then of course Thanksgiving you'll need checking that weekend. And
guys, if you do not have a saddle yet from Latitude Outdoors, you're missing out, and I urge you to go check them out. We are working with Latitude again this year, and their gear is my favorite gear to hunt out of and hunt with. All over the Michigan, all over Illinois, wherever I'm going, I'm rocking the Ranger 22 backpack and my full saddle setup, sticks, the whole gambit. Right now, latitudeoutdoors.com is running an outlet collection. They're calling it 30 to 35% off. I've never seen a discount that heavy on this stuff. I urge you to go over to latitudeoutdoors.com, check them out, and get yourself in a saddle. They go to a lot of different trade shows too if you want to try one out. I ran into one of theirs over at J Sporting Goods in Gaylord, Michigan. They had them on the shelf there. So if you want to get one in your hands and mess around with it first, always a cool idea. We gave away a couple at the Deer Hunter Collective the other day here in Michigan, but I'm not hunting out of anything else. Even if I didn't partner with them, I'd still be hunting out of their gear. Matter of fact, before we signed up again this year, I was like, I'm hunting out of this stuff no matter what. So it's my favorite gear to hunt out of, mobile. I'm going to set up my HB40 to be able to hunt mobile, as well as my blinds for the kids, and have this thing dialed in. Guys, Latitude Outdoors, look them up. Check out the outlet. Get yourself a saddle.
Yeah, it's I don't know. I mean,
Columbus Day. We'll be checking Columbus Day.
I think it's interesting. It's definitely an interesting conversation.
Yeah, because that's kind of like when hunting changed. If you really think about it, that's when we lost the deer camp-esque thing. That's when people started getting very territorial of deer and all that shit. Is when we started knowing what was out there. It changed it.
Yeah, I mean,
you agree, disagree? I mean,
some of it, yeah. I mean, it's definitely different knowing what's out there, and then that's definitely kept me from harvesting different deer these days. But I probably harvest less deer now.
Yeah, see, you're different because you bring Jared down there, but a lot of people, when they know there's a nice deer out there, they're not letting their buddies on. And that's kind of when it changed with the cameras, if it makes sense. I don't know, maybe not.
Yeah, the cell camera. So back when I first started running cameras years ago before cell cameras, I mean, I ran them all summer, get the velvet picks, the easy picks. By the time hunting season come, I wouldn't check them. I wouldn't, because I wasn't going to walk to every camera and try to pull a card and screw it up. When I started getting to more of the cell thing, then that's when I started getting more into actually, maybe a few years before cell, actually running them all fall, not just letting them go dead. But hanging a trail camera, I mean, here anyways, it's kind of an art form. I mean, yeah, you can go nail onto a post, you're going to get a deer picture probably, but if you're trying to get certain deer on certain winds, on certain spots, and you need where the sun's not going to be setting at 5:30 whenever he comes out, so the camera needs to be over here so I get a good picture of him. And my ropes that I make, that's really been a deal. And it's because it stops them. Whether they lick it, play it or not, at least they stop. And when they stop, you get a good pick, whether pick or video, not just that blur by. And I mean, there's an art to hanging trail cameras. I've always said that. And sometimes you get really good pictures of guys who are like, how'd you get that picture? And I was like, well, it's an ancient secret from the Egyptians. And but no, it's a tool, but there's still a tactic to it.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess if I just want to get a picture of a deer, I could easily get a picture of a deer. But when I'm trying to get a picture of that deer or the deer or one deer or a rumor deer, then that's kind of where just an extra set of eyes. It would be cool. Like the last podcast I'd done, I brought it up, but Jared was talking about things we give up. And I was like, I don't know. I'd like to have that surprise that oh shit, I haven't had that in a while. Then I no more did that podcast. And then this happened, I was sitting up there and oh shit, there come that one. It's like, I don't know you. Don't even care. Don't even know what you are, but you look big. You're big enough. And then did it again. Had the same blind. Did another buck. And it was like, I don't even know what's going on. I didn't even see a deer that I was hunting last year, which only went about 6-7 times last year. Honestly, I didn't get to hunt that much last several years, but I didn't even see any of the ones I was after. So, but yeah, no, there's a lot of deer right now. I don't know how it's going to play out. There's a lot of them. I hope it's not like Michigan where they're all 70 pounds and 4 points.
Yeah, the ones we do get to maturity, which are a diamond in the coal mine, if you will, or needle in the haystack, they're big body, that's for sure. And so same with that, I've been down there. You shot that drop time buck. Those are big body deer. We just shoot them all before they're too old. We have some stuff in the works, we have this new resurgence of people trying to go fight the NRC here in Michigan and make some progress. I think everybody's gonna be let down, unfortunately, like we always have been. But if there's any way we can make this win, it's gonna be with shooting more does. That's the only way we're gonna get anywhere in this state. So if there's any rules we can have put into place to make better deer hunting, better buck hunting, APRs, one buck or whatever, there's going to be an asterisk that says you need to shoot 7 does or whatever it is. There's going to be something along those lines because we're losing hunters and we're not shooting does. And, private land's getting hard to come by. Public land's pounded.
That's where it goes into play that guy I was talking about that other podcast about the state losing control. And right there's it. Somebody slides in and buys us 240 acres over there. And they're from wherever, and they come in and they hunt. They're not letting me go in there and shoot does. You just sewed up another 240 sanctuary. Well, then this piece over here is leased by these guys in next county. Base camp leasing's all blowed up around here. Then somebody from Chicago buys this piece. You just sewed up 1,200 acres that no one's hunting now. But yeah, 6, 7, 10 guys are hunting it, but they're hunting horns. And they're here during the rut. They're not in here smacking does late season. So, the more the state's going to lose more control of what little control they think they have, because Illinois just does everything complete opposite of what you think they should do. They're going to lose it even worse if it isn't already too late.
I think they're following Michigan. You guys just have better soil and less hunters.
Well, I mean, you think the guys that are buying this ground up and making these big hunting, you think they care if their does eat my corn? You know, if I'm ruining a crop,
right?
It's hard to say that as a deer hunter, but I mean, I wish I could think what that guy's name was, what podcast. It was just like maybe in a TikTok clip or whatever, but it made a lot of sense.
Well, if you get that, send it over. We'll share it on HP if you ever find it.
I was talking to someone the other day that was talking about, the whole NRC thing, movement that's going on here. And they were playing devil's advocate basically. And do we really want to become a big buck state, a destination big buck state? And then all of a sudden we're in the same situation like what he's talking about, with this gets bought up and this gets leased up and then there's nowhere to hunt anymore. I mean, I know it's different here because it's small plots of land, but you can still go get permission around here.
Yeah, I see your point, and that's
just something that was brought to my attention.
Something to consider. I don't think it's ever going to happen if I had to bet money on it.
Around here, they hunt as well. They're not letting. I mean, I let a few people hunt here and there. Didn't used to. I kind of got over a hill, where I was mad at deer hunting, to where I finally said, "Screw this, I'm going to enjoy it." And then things got fun. Right. When I was mad at it, it sucked.
That same journey, man. That exact same journey.
So Jordan, you got some people starting to cut some trees on your ground. I know since I started coming down years ago, I was telling you to, I think it'd be beneficial to cut the pasture and whatnot. And you guys still cut that. Then you bought your own 40 acres. Talk to us about that land journey through getting the logger in there, how long that took, and just. Again, another logger story, right? I got 50 of them, but here's another one.
Well, it's only got 9 acres of timber on, the rest is tillable, and it's got public hunting on 2 sides. So it's not like it's a great piece, but it's a pretty nice piece. I've hunted it for 20 years. Finally able to purchase it, but there wasn't any marketable timber. It was like old post oak that was the fence row marker for the last 80 years, and the logger's in there. So I had had my broker come look at it. Wasn't enough for him to mess with. He said, "You'll make more money leaving me out of it." So I called the logger who logged the other piece we had. He come looked at it. He said, "There's not really enough here that I want to mess with. If you get somebody to give you between this and this, I'd take it." So I called another guy that some other friends have used, and he come in there and he said, "I'll give you this," which happened to fall within those numbers. And okay, well then last year was of course too wet because it was all wet all spring. Well, this year it's extremely wet. But he did finally get in there and start dropping some. He's asking me the other day about the autumn olive in there. He said, "What's that one kind of?" I said, "Russian olive, whatever that whatever that public planted years ago. It's all blowed over here." And he's like, "I've never seen that type." He said, "I know what Russian olive is." He said, "You got something different there." He said, "I can only get the logger, the big roller skidder through it." And I said, "Yeah, I know it's nasty thick." He said, "How do you kill it?" And I was like, "You don't." I don't know if he's talking about bush honeysuckle. He said it was something for an autumn olive. I think I know what he's talking about. Actually, a deer can't even walk through it. But he's in there dropping some trees. And this year being green like it is, you see every time a treetop goes down, you see everything. Like you just took a whole section of the sky out, But it has, and I've noticed some of my better trees getting torn up. And I'm like, dang it. But then again, I look at it and it was like, well, how in the heck else would you get this tree down without taking that limb off that one or not? So, I mean, I understand that it sucks, but I understand that there's going to be some casualties that go with it. One thing I asked him to do is the road that he's making around them points to pull his logs out. When he leaves, push the tops out there and leave me that road open. That way I've got that access road through there because, like I said, it's so thick you couldn't even hardly walk through it. Where now I'm going to have a road through there and I'll get in there and get some wheat going and get a base established. Nothing else, I'll have a logging road and access to walk around it in. If I can get some sunlight going, I kicked around maybe putting some more trees in there. And I got a different guy that's farming it right now. I'm not farming, another guy is because he already had it rented when I purchased it. And his equipment's big enough that he can't really get in the nooks and crannies of the points. And here's a 1/8 of an acre and here's a 60 by 40. And it's like, maybe I should, instead of trying to get clover to pop, maybe I should try to throw in some apple trees or something here. So, my wheels are turning now that that's finally getting logged because, last year nothing got done. And here it is this year, get started on it. So, and I know it'll be a dang mess first couple of years, but mean, there's a lot of deer come through there. Jared's killed a few deer in there.
Okay.
They come out there and feed in them fields a lot. But being able to actually get in the timber will be nice, because we've always had to hunt from the edge just because it's so damn thick in there. You can't walk through it.
Yeah, I remember that one deer I passed that one opening morning. I didn't think he was big enough, and I get back to camp, and you're like, "How big was he?" I'm like, "Well, I could see his rack perfectly. It was nice, 8-point, 9-point, stood tall on his head." And like we started seeing other deer from guys who brought him into your barn, and I'm like, "Son of a bitch, I should have shot that thing." And that was the year where we did the hedge apple push on that.
Was it that year?
I think so, yeah. And I missed that 155. And well, I put it through the brisket, and we no blood, no nothing. Your neighbor killed him next week, or muzzleloader or whatever.
Yeah,
that was a nice deer.
Yeah.
Yeah. And but I think you're doing the right thing, and I know it's a mess, but you might want to. I know the NRCS around you might never call you back, and that could be said for many places, I'm sure. But you can get paid to take care of that bush honeysuckle or that autumnal, whatever's coming up in there. It sounds like BH, but
I've tried, and they tell me they don't know what I'm talking about, even though I know they do.
So
and
that's
in fact,
what I wanted
the one
to
guy
ask you
that just got hired is actually a friend of mine. He got hired and took that job. The other guy retired, and he's already quit. So I mean, I know there's TSI programs, there's stewardship programs. I know they're out there. I've got insights in other counties. Yeah. I know how some of this works. I mean, I'm learning, but I mean, I know there's options out there for some things. But you go in there and ask them about it, and they just look at you like deer in the headlights, or how do you know type deal. It's like, really? So I mean, right now CRP signups going on, so it's hectic anyways in certain counties. But yeah, I mean, I know it's out there. I know people who's got it, done great with it, and getting reimbursed and doing everything. And I can't even get the forester up here to call me back because the tornado come through last year, pushed some trees over on the public, and my guys wanting to drag them back because they were trees that he had purchased, and the wind blew them down. And I can't even get the forester to even call me back or email me back.
Oh man.
So I mean, I would love to get something going. I mean, a TSI or something going there. Maybe if I had that, it would give me more of an initiative to get off my butt, get in there and do some work rather than just piddle here, piddle there. I mean, if I knew I had a deadline, something that had to be done, then I'd try to do a lot more of it. But
well, maybe like typical government work, you might just have to. And again, we've already talked about this, but like, I don't know. I know your office is special. You're not getting anywhere throughout the years, and I don't know, brush management to control the invasives in there, especially after you're logging it and open up the canopy. A lot of times you wanna get in there and control that stuff. But if that being said, if you can't get them to call you back or show up or do anything, that's tough. That's what's so interesting to me about it. Everybody always talks about these government offices and these field offices and all the programs that are out there. Well, they take like a year to get in. Like I had a gal out today on my 40 from NRCS here in Michigan. And she was, she didn't promise the world, but she said, "Hey, there's some stuff here you can do and get the application in, and we'll talk about it. And I won't see funding until next year if I get approved." And I'm gonna try. I'm gonna put my plans for the stuff I want to do in her hands. That I don't need to start till next year at least. I'm not gonna try to do something now with them, because it won't happen.
But it took me 4 years just to get that one and buffer strips and that erosion started.
Yeah, tell me about that project. I want to talk about that project.
Some of the farmer was getting further away from the fence row, the equipment getting bigger, so the fence row was coming out in the field, and I kept trying to push it back, and nothing crop-wise grows next to the trees, so some guys don't want to hug the fence row with their equipment, and it his erosion was getting worse and worse and worse and blowing out. And I'm like, why don't we just put a CRP buffer strip down through here? And there are so many different programs, and it depends on different county. And, there's some programs that you have to do at least two sides of your field. And if one field's adjacent to a road, that has to be one side. There's certain foot markers. There's warm season, cool season. There's quail strips. There's a whole bunch of different things. It's just trying to get somebody nailed down to give you the answer, then how it qualifies. I've heard 15 different stories of how something might qualify. But anyways, I want to put a break of prairie grass down the edge to stop the erosion. They're going to pay so much per acre. It's going to keep the invasives and the briar patches pushed back and coming out in the field. So I got it going. Nothing the first year. got to going again, got talking, raised hell, nothing the second year. Got through the third year, and they finally give me, say, yeah, we'll accept it. We'll give you this much an acre for it. I'm like, finally. Okay, well, if you're going to pay me that much an acre, there's a 3/4 mile fence row. I said, what if I do a 50-foot buffer down this fence row too? It's like, yeah, that'd qualify. Well, somehow they canceled the first one, so I didn't get nothing that year. So year 4 comes into play, and I've got something going finally, got it planted, which was weird. They wanted it broadcasted, and, some of that real fine grass seed, some of that worm seeds and stuff, it's like it just doesn't broadcast good. So we had the local co-op mix with potash, I think, and blow it on and some oats or something. But you think they'd want it drilled. For years they want everything drilled, and now they want it broadcast. It just don't make any damn sense the way they do it. But finally got it going. So there's 8 1/4 acres of a CRP break north and south around some points, and then east and west of 50 foot. Well, then they come out. We paid for it, and I know Dad turned in for the cost share on the seed. Nothing. They come back and
what
say,
was it, Jay? What was the payout supposed to be?
It was so much per acre, and they paid that. So here's the thing: the cost share of the seed was something different. The cost share of the seed and labor, they'll pay like 50% of the seed and labor. We never got paid. So the year comes around. This is the end of year 4, and the state paid their rent for those acres for the money that was agreed upon in the contract, but they never paid the cost share for the seed and labor yet. So we're fighting that, trying to figure out why we're not getting a check. We're figuring out what's going on. And so I go down there, and they tell me that there's a discrepancy with one of the lines. And I was like, you guys, I drew what I wanted. They tweaked it. I built it to what they had tweaked. I took a rangefinder, and my dad walked that whole thing and drove fiberglass post, and, with a rangefinder. And they come down, there was one spot, it was off by 2 feet. And I'm like, are we really throwing a fit over 2 feet now? We just picking.
Like it was not enough of 2 feet, or was it over 2 feet? Probably
not enough by 2 feet. I think 2 feet too close. So then they come out and said they want to take 2.5 acres out, but they want to take 2.5 acres out between the fence line and the grass, the CRP grass, and then there'd be grass field instead of the other way. So now I just lost 2.5 acres of farm ground. How am I going to farm this strip in there now? So that's going to be woods, farm ground, a 50-foot CRP buffer, and farm ground. So it didn't make any damn sense. So they're not going to pay us for taking 2.5 acres out. I'm like, well, this only makes sense. So at this point, I'm like, let's just erroneously terminate it. We're done. We'll go back to farming it. This has been a 4-year battle for nothing. So then the state brought in a third party because they're so far behind on stuff. So this third party guy comes around. Oh, before all this happens, that woman told me, she's like, well, our guy walked it and he measured it. And I said, ma'am, nobody's walked that. I go, oh, no, he walked it back in November. I said, ma'am, you don't understand how many trail cameras I have. I said, nobody's walked that. And she just dropped her head because she knew she was just making it up as she went. She's like, we'll be there. I watched the guy sit in his vehicle with his computer and did it from the computer. He didn't get out and walk, Yeah. And so anyways, that gets going. So they get this third party guy in here, and this all just happened the last couple of weeks. Well, he comes in and says, instead of taking out 2.25 acres, he wants to add 3/10 of an acre to it. So they're saying we're 2.5 acres heavy. He's saying we're 3/10 of an acre shy. So he's the one that is setting up the parameters for whatever. So he sold Dad some seed. We went there and moved the damn post 10 feet for 300 yards, whatever it was, and reworked it up and broadcast it, rolled it into the Packer Max. Because what the hell else are we going to use this time of year? Right? And back in the middle of the farm field. So we got it, turned it in. So we ain't been paid yet, but we'll see. I actually turned the paper in 2 days ago. But that's just been a 4.5 year battle just to get a damn buffer strip to keep the erosion. I mean, it's wildlife. It qualified. It's warm season grass, And it's just like, why is this so hard? If it's really needing it. And I got another piece of ground that we'd love to put in something. We started farming it, and it's a clay knob, and it farmed centuries ago. Then we ran cattle on it. Then we went to farm it again. So we had to reestablish all brand new as farm ground again, start farming it. And it's like 9 acres. And it's got a real bad clay knob and washing out. So we're going to farm it and then try to put it into a tree program or a CRP, a pollinator program of some sort, get something going for the wildlife and be able to make some income off of it. And we're still working under the 2018 Farm Bill. The Farm Bill Trump signed his last time he was in office. So under the 18 Farm Bill, between the years of 12 and 17, it's got to be farmed 4 of 6 years or something to qualify. So even though I farmed it since 2015, so now I've farmed it for 10 years, it does not qualify for anything because we're under the 2018 Farm Bill still. So until we get a new Farm Bill, I'm just kind of stuck with it. At the same time, they may write a new Farm Bill, but it may be like a 2022 Farm Bill they're writing 26. So it's just going to, so if you start digging holes and asking questions, you start going down rabbit holes. And I don't know if you're being lied to or told the truth.
Yeah.
But I know other offices in other counties are great to work with. I know other guys and farmers that have had great relationships and getting TSI programs and getting stewardship programs and getting quails forever. They're getting all this stuff and they're just, oh yeah, no, hey, this is new. Check this out. They'll go in there and they'll pay you $40 an acre to go in there and spray your invasives. Okay, yeah, great. And in my county, not so much. But
gotcha.
I kind of picked a battle on this deal to kind of prove a point, and I kind of proved it over 4.5 years that it should not be this hard. So
yeah, and that's what I don't know. I've only dealt with the Northern 70 with QFP and NRCS and FSA, and it worked out good. It took a little while, but things got done, and I'm starting down here. I guess the moral of the story is I'm sorry to hear that you're going through that. It's just county by county, office by office, based on the help and everything else. Because Kendra, she's slammed with stuff in her county.
Yeah, I mean there is a lot of option programs, a lot of options and programs out there. It's just trying to nail down what you qualify for and nail down somebody that knows what they're talking about. And I think we're getting to kind of like the taxidermist thing. All the old timers have retired, and this next bump hasn't had time to learn it yet. It always seems like government jobs or state jobs or a lot of jobs these days, they don't hire till they have to. And then, well, yeah, he retired. He retires next week. Try to show him what type deal. And now you're stuck with somebody who just literally walked into it. Now they're trying, but with the cut in the federal stuff right now, there's been a lot of jobs cut. And I know like the CRP here in Illinois, or at least in our county, say they had to check 20% of the CRP. So if there's 100 acres enrolled in CRP in this county, they had to check 20 acres. The other ones are just a handshake that you did what you were supposed to do.
Yeah.
Now they got to check 100% of them 3 times through the contract. They got to check it after it's planted. They got to check it mid-contract, and they got to check it before the end of contract termination. So now,
is that right?
So now they're finding out that there's a lot of stuff in CRP that has not been maintained, has not been taken care of, should not have been in CRP, should not have been in a program. I've even heard stories of people having tree programs that should not have been tree programs. And now they're coming in there, hey, we have to cancel your tree program because this shouldn't have qualified. I'm sorry, you got bad information. Well, what do I do with the 30 acres of 10-foot trees out here now that I can't farm? Go in there and tear them all out with the bulldozers. So, I mean, I know there's a lot of good stuff out there. I hear a lot of good stories from people, and even on your podcast, having great luck with talking to them and getting places. But I'm on the other end of that, and I have tried and I've fought tooth and nail, and I do have stuff established. I do have some CRP in certain spots and for farming and for hunting aspect. But it's been a fight to get it.
Yeah.
But
I think maybe the moral of the story, and correct me if I'm wrong, would be like, if you're gonna do something like this, you got to have your T's crossed, your I's dotted, and and the squeaky wheel gets the grease. Like, you're in there 4 years to get something done. I mean, that's true in anything in life. You don't ask, you don't get. Squeaky wheel gets the grease, all that stuff. Like, right. You're going to have to, if you want to commit to this and get some cost share, you're going to have to dedicate some time.
Right. And it's not going to happen tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
It's something you think, in 2 or 3 years, I might put that into a set-aside program. I might try to get a policy. Go ahead and start asking your questions.
Great tip.
Going.
Great
because
advice.
You may have this whole deal planned out, and in 3 years, and you go back to do it, that person's retired. Now you got somebody else in here that's, they're green and they're learning their way too. But whatever deal you made 3 years ago, and these programs change constantly. Yeah. I mean, it's all of a sudden, boom, CRP's open today. Nobody do nothing. Open till June 5th. Sign up, go. It's like, so then everybody's trying to pile in the office and trying to talk. But I think you're going to start the federals are cutting stuff. The new CRP payments for like where I'm at, they're about half of what they was paying. So that they've cut it down quite a bit right now. So most guys are probably going to pull out and go back to farming. But the grain prices ain't exactly great either right now. But you'll see it go in spans. You'll see a lot of ground going to CRP for these 10-year contracts, and then you'll see it back to be farming between the telephone poles. Then there'll be another swing. I've seen it over the years, just kind of back and forth. And I don't think there'll be a lot of people going into CRP right now just because the price is not there with all the federal cuts and everything. You can make more farming, obviously. Even at these low prices, you can still make better farming. It's the piece of ground that does not need to be farmed. That's the problem. A lot of these acres, there's a lot of stuff that should be farmed, but it's in CRP or set aside or pollinator. There's a lot of stuff that shouldn't be farmed, but is because there's no acreage left because either the farm bill is not correct, the dates don't line up. You just bought the ground, so what do you got to? I'm making Andy tired. Look at him, he's yawning.
Oh yeah,
been a week.
Or past Hutchie's bedtime.
Bought this piece of ground. It's got to be farmed for 5 years, which it has, and I have to own it for 1 year before I qualify for anything. So I've owned it now. So now I qualify to go put into a program, but with my track record, I'm not really ready to jump into that yet.
Well, you think that like the worst soil on the erodible edges should be CRP, and the good soil there should be some buffer there. Maybe there is, and I just don't know.
I think there's supposed to be. I think just years of neglect.
Yeah,
and not knowing stuff,
or who
the cracks.
If you're best buddies with the NRCS agent, and
I brought that up to them too. They don't like that.
I'm just saying, like, it's all about who you know. So if you can grease the wheel, and I don't know, I don't know enough about that. I've never had any tillable ground really to even explore this stuff. Mine's all on the timber side, brush management side, but it's and
you may have a guy call next week and be like, Jordan Hanks is full of shit. This is how it works. This is how great it is. But this is the hand that I've been dealt and what I've messed with it. But no, if somebody can, has an idea, there are options out there, but you've got to start asking today. Because it's not going to happen tomorrow. And if everything does line up and you find somebody with a wealth of knowledge, and they're going to help you and they're going to show up and they're going to be there, it's still not going to happen tomorrow.
Plan on going through some hoops because it's going to happen no matter what you do. I need, farm stuff, whatever. I've dealt with that for years, and you're going to plan on waiting. Be patient, I guess, would be the biggest thing. Be patient.
Same thing with logging.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no shit.
Yeah.
All the above. Jordan, you called 2, 3, 4 guys. You're getting pretty discouraged about nobody wanting to cut your ground, and
they're like, it ain't worth nothing. I'm like, that's reassuring for what I gave for
it. Yeah, right. and I was just like, keep calling. And I'd urge that to anybody out there, just to somebody, someplace, you'll find them if you want it bad enough.
Something else he's telling me too, which might have prolonged some of it, at least recently. He said like the walnut bottom's kind of fallen out, which is still worth a lot. But he said these tariffs have really kind of slowed down the logs. He said, China's not wanting to pay up right now to move some of this stuff. So I think they're still worth it. They're just not moving it right now. So it'll all pan out eventually. But it's just why drag it out now and you can let it sit. You got so much time to get it out, And so I got a lot going on. I guess you have nothing going on. You got stuff going every which direction, it seems like. But
see,
he's busy as the rest of us, buddy.
Really, honestly, I was telling Jared, I started doing this the week after Christmas. I used to have like a little rough cut oak room here. I had my hunting stuff in it, and I ripped it all out week after Christmas and started doing. I got sink and water and countertops and a whole nother room and
I like it.
Heat and air and
taxidermy at its finest.
There we go.
Anything in there?
No.
So how about this fall, man? We shot some bucks last year, but they were all stranger bucks, non-resident bucks.
They really was. Dad's the only one that shot one that we had pictures of that week.
Yep.
The ones you killed.
I'm feeling pretty good. I'm thinking this fall. I mean, so who do we have on the hit list? The hit list for this fall.
Well, that big 8, he's still alive. Neighbor's got his shed. He had 14-inch G2. The drop tine twisted buck, he made it. Got pictures of him in February, the blind eye, and he still held his antlers. The 3 big 8s in the back here, that the one that you walked around that got up on that day, he made it. The other nice 8 made it. The 8 with the kicker and then the double brows, I found one of his sheds, he made it. The big tall brow tine buck that has brow tines taller than the rest of his rack, he made it. But I didn't find any of them sheds, but so they were rutting on me. Obviously, we was getting pictures of them always hunting them, or middle of the night that he bedded with a doe after running the ag fields or whatever. Pictures of them, but I didn't find their sheds. Didn't see them in velvet, which so they're not wintering on me. Okay, that sucks, but I don't care because they're rutting.
That's fine.
Yep. You know, so it wasn't discouraging that I didn't find them deer's antlers. You know, I know a couple of them from the year before. So, I mean, there's still some bonus bucks that pop up, but there's a handful of them that live here. There's a handful of them that don't, you know, there's definitely some potential this year for something big to happen.
As long as we don't have EHG, not to be a downer, but as long as that doesn't happen, we're going to be, because the year before I came down second season, and y'all had a hammer year first season. I mean, a hammer year. I'm like, shit, there's nothing left. And we found the biggest buck that was left, and we went after him, and we got him second morning. That was a great hunt, you and me together.
And Andy shot his 170 that night, didn't he? That 176. So he was killed. It was a second season buck.
I left my rack in the truck. Yep. And no, it's gonna be a good time, man. I'm excited, and you were gracious enough to invite my dad down this year, so we're gonna haul the camper down probably, and just have a good time. Getting to know you and your whole family, and then Andy and that whole family, and then the Louisiana boys. I've seen them 5 years in a row now. It's like it's pretty cool, man. I really don't want to go anywhere else.
But you see how many bucks are brought in here just drinking beer. Now that I got a taxidermy shop in here, this might be a freaking madhouse. So
I bet it will be.
I don't know. I'm putting a cap on. I'm only going to take like 20 this year.
You probably should. That's probably smart.
I've already got guys calling me and asking me if they can pay a retainer just to have a guaranteed spot.
Yeah, you're going to do well, man. I'm telling you.
Yeah, very well.
Just find that
nerve-wracking at times. I'm too picky about stuff. I don't know.
I mean, it's nerve-wracking to start any sort of venture like this, But if you do a good job,
this is what I'm known for, though. No, not really. But I go screwing this stuff up. Everybody's going to be. I don't know.
You better not screw it up.
But no, back what you said. We've had some very good years the last couple of years. We really have. We killed a lot of nice deer, and it was kind of out of the realm for how things were when I grew up. It's definitely different, definitely funner, but I don't know. I've seen it disappear. So it's just every year, it's just cross your fingers.
It's just another deer camp too, though, where whether we do good or not, all the guys are there. All the guys are getting together. We're grilling bacon wrapped, jalapeno stuffed back straps, we're smoking them and having a good time, man. Illinois deer camp at its finest.
Yeah. Now, Andy don't know that, but years ago I started kind of doing that because there was no deer camps anymore. All the older guys had give it up, and the younger guys were not doing it. And that's like, okay, so started kind of inviting people over. Next thing you know, there's a deer camp, and then you get to where Dusty's not leaving until 6 o'clock the next morning.
I love that guy. I love that guy. You're gonna have to maybe get on Andy's deer camp podcast and talk about how you're bringing deer camp back in Southern Illinois.
Let's do it.
Yep.
Seemed like one year you invite a bunch of people and like 15 people show up. And one year I just started inviting, no one's going to come. I'll try. I had like 80 freaking people show up. I was like, oh, shit.
That's a great time.
That's a good deer camp right there.
Well, we don't have the Michigan thing. Like you guys have a history of deer hunting. We didn't have there wasn't even deer around here for a year. My dad was 14 before he seen his first deer.
Yeah.
They introduced them on the public ground back in like 67 or something. There wasn't. And when I started hunting in 96, there wasn't a lot of them, but you seen them,
Mm-hmm.
Or right now you just about trip on one.
Now your deer camp is more of, hanging the deer in the shop, drinking beer, cranking music, cutting the deer, measuring the deer up.
We've had COVID.
It's not like
we've had DUIs.
I've
been there for both those.
Kinda.
Do what?
It's kind of more like a social club, your deer camp. You're coming, you're hanging out, and then you're going home.
Yeah.
Have you ever been in a hurry to get a bunch of expensive seed down and not know exactly how much to put down? Or you get it down and you run out before you're halfway across the field? I have, and I'm done with it. I'm now using the Downburst Cedar DS860 drop cedar. Guys, I've been using the 860 now for 2 years, and this thing is bad to the bone. All aluminum, handcrafted here in northern Michigan. I will be planting switchgrass with mine. Doug and I were talking today about, prepping the ground for switchgrass, getting it on. Switchgrass is like $180 for 10 pounds. That's pretty expensive seed. I'm not just gonna willy-nilly throw it out there. So my downburst behind my ATV or tractor or side-by-side will be exact, 99% accurate with this cedar for any sort of expensive seeds. You can run any of our Vitalize mixes through there. You can run expensive seeds like alfalfa, clover, brassicas, and get exact rates. Don't end up with golf ball sized turnips anymore. Get the correct rate down and don't waste your money by wasting seed. Downburst DS860 drop seeder, brand new code HP100 at checkout. HP100, $100 off a Downburst seeder. Check them out at downburstseeders.com.
Oh, dude, the first year I came down was 2020, and
I had COVID.
he had COVID, and that was still when it was a big deal. And I was like,
COVID.
oh,
I'm still a
man.
big deal. COVID was a big deal.
Yeah, no, you're still a big deal. Yeah, and I was like, oh man, if I bring COVID home and get my family sick, my wife's gonna hang me from a noose in the front yard. And I remember I stayed at Jordan's parents' house the first year down the road because he had COVID. And you remember that?
Oh, you know Jared. I'm like, I met him once like 3 years ago. He likes Bush Light, I can tell you that.
Yeah, that's for dang sure. And I remember staying at your parents' house and just like shot the biggest deer still I ever shot. 153-inch 8-point in the wall there. And what a hunt, man. But it was just like, and then yeah, Scotty and the going fast on the road. Yeah, all kinds of we have a lot of stories, man. But it's such a great time. It is a deer camp. There's no doubt about that in my mind.
Well, you don't have to sleep in a deer
no
camp
doubt
for it to be a deer camp.
There's no doubt.
Nice.
Yeah,
Anywho, what else you got,
as far as
Jordan?
food plots go, I mean, things are late for me. I'm trying. I put out some of that wall stuff today, just trying to put a screen around a plot just because it's raining now. I'm like, well, it's got some sorghum in it, some soybean legume. It'll come up, hit with the Packer Max. It ain't got, ground's heavy enough moisture. It'll come up. Try it. If not, it maybe never before I get back in it again. So I went ahead and threw some out there and rolled around with the Packer Max and the Big Red in the
Well,
rain.
now it's about probably the last time that you can, the next week or two to get a screen in for everybody who might have a screen still sitting in the back of their truck. Now's the time to get the annual screen in for sure.
Right. And it's at the point, I mean, if I was to go out and throw out some spring plot, I mean, I'm going to turn right around and probably terminate them if they even do make anything, July into August. I might as well just go ahead and really probably go more towards like a soybean or a Milo, something that's going to be a longevity, and then broadcast, like some carbon load into that. And that would be more so just to keep some food there as quick as I can get it up and still have my winter greens. That's not just not saying that there's not going to be a bare piece of dirt back there until I decide to plant my carbon load or brassicas or anything. At least now if I throw some soybeans or some sorghum, Milo, whatever, anything out there, at least I start getting some greenery up and got something there,
And if we get hit with a drought, you still got, drought comes again like it has, then you'll still have something sitting there.
And established clover, like I planted clover in the spring and it get hot, just burn up and kill it. But established clover, it'll get burnt in the summer in the heat, but it'll pull through. And I was telling a guy the other day, he's asking me what I do. And I said, I frost seed my clover now. I've had great luck frost seeding it, whether I'll do a brassica patch and then I'll go back here and frost seed into that. I've actually got a nitro boost patch that I left. A carbon load because the damn clover was so pretty. I couldn't stand to tear it out. And now I got clover back there waist deep. I just maintained it, cleaned it, sprayed it, added to it. But I said, I'd like to mix chicory with mine because chicory's kind of a drought tolerant if you can get up and get established. And I have noticed over the years, the clover might choke that chicory out some, but every year I just keep, whether it needs it or not, I go through my edge of my field, my breaks, my accesses, and I'll just throw my clover and my chicory together in the spreader and I'll drive it out there on the snow or in February as the ground's trying to thaw and frost seed it. But I really think that chicory does something because, it's a more drought tolerant, and it's just another option. It's something else that might be there in case one fails. That's why I like the carbon load mix. If one thing fails, there's 16 more that hopefully don't, That's what I like about seed blends. But the game plan for this year, like I said, if I put soybeans, they're going to annihilate them. They're not going to make it, but I'm going to have something there buying myself time until the conditions are right for the fall plots. So I really don't see any use for me trying to strike out on a spring plot now.
Yeah, they can definitely be tough. I'll agree with that. My carbon load right now and all the stuff I frosted looks phenomenal, but we've been getting nothing but rain. Like chicory's already 6-7 inches high. in the premium clover mix. So it's like, do you want to terminate that? It's tough. It's tough. And you don't have to. That's the best part. You don't have to. So
Yep.
I guess
Last year that Milo where it didn't come up, because whether it was all the rain or the drought, I had parts of the field didn't come up. So I just ran my little 5-foot disc in there and just made it look like a damn mess. Wasn't trying to make a maze. I was just trying to where shit didn't come up. I worked it and I threw down wheat. And it worked great. I had great Milo here and I had great wheat there. And I was back here today, and actually I left probably 1/8 of an acre of the wheat because there is some hellacious clover in the bottom of it. So now I have a plot around a clover plot. And it was like, I can't. I tried so many years to get clover to come up and look like this. I don't have the heart to tear it out. But it
you're getting soft in your age, man.
Oh, I know. I told you I ain't got kill in my heart no more.
Again, BS. No way.
Speaking
of kill, yeah. Speaking of kill, what are you killing this year?
Me or Andy?
Both.
I'm gonna kill all time. I'm gonna kill some time. I'm gonna kill some bush light.
I'm gonna definitely waste some time in the tree. There's no doubt about that. Did you apply for Iowa yet?
Yeah, I applied for Iowa. I applied for my point. I applied for my Colorado.
Jordan and I we're not cycling together on the Iowa.
You gotta hang out more so you sync up.
Yeah, we're not cycling together.
Maybe if we lived together like women, we'd cycle together.
That's what I mean.
Exactly. We probably would.
So,
how many points you got, Jordan?
Just Iowa, 2 or 3. I put in for Colorado this year. Did you get that email, Jared, on the points for Colorado on the mule deer and elk? I got the whole you're unsuccessful, which I was planning on being unsuccessful. I purchased just the point, but
same. So I've only been going for elk, so I have like 3 elk points now in Colorado. I think. Like we're gonna go next year.
I have 11 points for Michigan bear.
Yeah, we got to do that sometime. Shoot.
I got 14.
Yeah, 14 bear points.
13, something like that. Yeah, but I need like 16 or 18 to hunt the Baldwin unit.
In your unit, yeah. Jordan and I are gonna go to the UP and hang out at Andy's bar in Seney.
Ooh, that's a fun bar.
Yeah, that's a good bar.
It's a fun bar.
But no, Jordan's got a bunch of points. He's talking about coming to Michigan, doing a bear hunt. If you want to give up your 18 points, you might be able to join us.
It's just 18 years.
Yeah, 18.
Kanye got a song about that.
Yeah, pretty much.
But no, I did draw Kansas early season muzzleloader.
Heck yeah, man.
Nice. That'll be fun.
So I'll be heading to Kansas in September. And then the way I understand it, hope I'm not wrong, if I don't fill that tag during the muzzleloader season, I can return and hunt the rifle season in December with a muzzleloader.
Okay. I hope that's true because that would be perfect.
So I'm only going to, right now, the only days I have off for the gun season, your dad's going to be here is probably like Friday, Saturday. I'll probably go to work that Sunday. Yeah. I'll just hunt from work.
Yeah.
But, so yeah, I got that lined up for September, and the last week of August, I'm heading to Florida for that gator hunt. So gator and Kansas whitetails, what's on the agenda this year.
All right. If you want to come to West Virginia, we're doing a Patreon hunt down there in West Virginia.
What do they shoot down there in West Virginia?
Whitetail.
Oh,
I got them.
I don't know. I've killed a lot of pigs, just not wild ones.
Andy, what about you? What do you got on the docket? You're going to Iowa, hopefully.
I got West Virginia.
Yep.
Then a couple hunts here in the state. And then Iowa, man, and that's pretty much it. Iowa is like I'm going all in on Iowa.
Or do you go in Iowa this year, Jared? Or you holding off?
No, I should draw. I talked to Shannon, but Scotty's gonna be there, so I got my old guy and we worked something out. So I'm gonna hopefully draw, and then I'll be back on the same cycle as you for Kansas next year. Because I want to do that early season Kansas thing in next year, 2 years. One or two, right?
Well, some guys draw it first year. I talked to one guy drew it back to back, but the first year I didn't draw. The second year I forgot that I missed the date.
That was me this year.
So this year actually would have been 2, but in 3 years, I guess Kansas doing erase your points as like Iowa will, at least for a few years. So I put in, so it would have been my second year. So I think what I've understood, if you don't draw 1, you'll draw 2. But Jared's talked to people on the podcast that took 3 years to draw. But then I've been out there and talked to guys on farms that drew back-to-back years. So I think that muzzleloader tag,
it's going to be worse in the future.
I think that just hearsay. I think that early season muzzleloader tag might be a little harder to get, and maybe a bow tag, but maybe the rifle tag's easier, or vice versa with those two. But
yeah, I think you might be right. I know for sure the bow's harder than the gun, the rifle tag there.
Okay, so that's what the rifle tag is.
Yeah. But yeah, so I think I got 2 points for Kansas.
Yeah, so you can draw
whatever you want.
Pretty good chance.
Yeah, man, it's gonna be a great fall. It'll be here before we know it. Tell you that much.
Should have been doing this point game 20 years ago.
Yeah.
Yep. Same here. I mean, that's why I'll probably never go elk hunting.
I want to go. I don't know how. I mean, I've been twice. I just never have been successful. I passed that bull this year because I just didn't like the circumstance too close. They had too many cows mixed in with him, and I didn't didn't want to pull one of those. But I was rifle hunting. It wasn't like I was right beside him. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I don't know. Colorado, I'm like, okay. So if I get a point every year from now to 50, I'll have like 11 points, and I'll just burn those 11 points up, go somewhere and try it then. If I don't kill one between now and I'm 50, I'll get something going maybe. But that's always been my big four: the big whitetail, big muley, big pronghorn, big elk, and I've got 3 of the 4. So got my mule deer back last week. He's on the wall.
All right.
Yeah, kind of cool deal. A guy delivered him, old retired. He's actually an outfitter, but he was a sheriff deputy or whatever. But he did that support his outfitting. Old retired Marine, and he told me he delivers for 9 taxidermists and 54 taxidermists in 9 states. So he just takes a 2-week run or whatever and just starts driving. So like he left Colorado with mine, he ran up somewhere south, then he had to run back to Montana and then back to Texas, and then made his way to Ohio, and then made his way to me, then back to Missouri, then back to Chicago for meet a guy. He had like 2 heads by the time he got to me, but he had 32 heads he was delivering. Big old box trailer, but sound like pretty good money. But
and probably
load the wife up and go for a 10-day trip.
Exactly. That's cool.
But so he's here, and feel like I'm gonna wake up tomorrow and it's gonna be November like normal. But
yeah, man.
I haven't shot the old bow yet. I have it ready to go. I got to get it tuned. That old bear.
Oh yeah, we talked about that in November.
Well, Andy, I've not shot a compound since I broke my neck, had all my surgeries and everything, but I got where I can pull one back and do stuff now. But I didn't want to go out and buy a $4,000 Matthews just to see if I'm a Matthews guy, just to see if I could still do it. So I'm like, screw this. I went and got an old from Whitetail Bear 2, looks freaking brand new, off like eBay. And then I
love it.
Like an Easton Game Getter 2 stabilizer from the 80s. I got a TM Hunter. I got aluminum XX75s, and I got some game tracker arrows. Like I found all this stuff like brand new still in the package from the 80s on eBay. So I got like $230 in this thing. 5-pine quiver, brand new Alpine 5-pine quiver. And it's like a dinosaur. And I'm like, but I got it cranked down as low as it'll go, about 40 pounds. Of course, there's no let off. And I'm like, I need to get it out and start shooting it because I really want to try to take it out and shoot a deer with it. I mean, I've not been able to shoot a compound since 2020. So now I'm going to get this old dinosaur. And, it sounds bad saying it one way, but, if a smaller, younger buck walks up, and I shoot one, or I'll be happy to hell doing it with that old, I got some 135 grain bear broadheads from back in the day, and the stuff that I started with, when I started bow hunting, and so it's kind of crazy. Everybody's going. I didn't quite go traditional, but I'm getting back 30, 40 years.
That's pretty cool. That's pretty traditional to me, right there.
I'm gonna try
original. That original compound shit, that's pretty traditional.
Yeah.
Wait, so are you or are you not going to throw a brand new Garmin automatic range finding sight on that book?
If Garmin will sponsor this podcast and give me one, I will put a brand new Garmin on a 1982 Bear White.
I might look into that because they do look pretty sweet. I'm not gonna lie.
I probably go to don't you have to enter in your grain and your spine info and stuff?
It's a little complicated on the front end, but it ends up.
Well, when I call them and say I'm shooting arrows from the 70s, I'm gonna need you to pick this up.
We don't register that arrow, sir.
They went out of business in 91.
Yeah, exactly. No, that's gonna be pretty cool. And knowing you'll probably shoot like a 140 and be like, yeah, I kind of subparred this buck. And
I was talking to Matt Busbus that one night, and I was telling him about it. And he's like, dude, did you ever watch the one I did? And I'm like, honestly, no. He went to a pawn shop and just bought a random bow off the shelf and went out and shot a turkey with it, I think. So
nice.
I was telling him everything I was doing. I said, I'm going old school. He's like, dude, that's freaking awesome. He's like, send me the picture whenever you do it. And I'm like, I probably won't, but I may try, I figured if I can put a pie plate 20 yards, that mean I killed deer like that 20 years ago, 30 years ago. So,
well, if you can get back into pulling the bow back and shooting one with a compound, that's a feat right there, man.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Just, of course, there's not any of this let off or nothing, but if I can do that, then surely I'll be able to maybe get back into a regular compound and just find something with a 40, 50 pound pull, massive let off. And I've got a 30-inch draw, which is kind of the hard part I think it's getting easier now, but Actually, the ATA this year is the first time I've pulled a compound and shot one since 2020. And I picked up that new Darton they had. And they had one kind of really, really low poundage and really, really let off. And I'm like, I shot it like 3 times. And it was like, okay, I can maybe do this if I work at it. So
you'll be good. I do.
So, yeah, I got brass pins and everything, Andy.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Do you have the old Walls Realtree bark camo jump coveralls to wear?
I got the top. I still wear turkey hunting.
You know
what
what
do you
I'm
mean
talking
jump?
about?
I love tree bark camo. Like I'm a sucker for tree bark.
Hey, how about this?
Yeah, like that. Yep.
No, I'm talking the old shit. I'm talking the stuff that looks blue.
This might be even
that's mossy oak, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it's mossy oak.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, it is.
But yeah, the old wall zip up, full jumpsuit coveralls that you wore over your clothes.
That's what I had. So I had the onesie growing up, the one zipper.
That's what I'm talking about. The onesie. Yep, you got it. You put
2 pair of blue jeans and a sweatshirt.
Yep. Put that on over that shit. You had your leather work boots on and
Pioneer seed gloves.
Those are warm. Okay, those are warm.
Hasbro seed hat. Do what?
Those are warm.
Not the ones I had. The ones I had were like thin. It was just a coverall, and you'd put like whatever sweatshirt and jeans and some white old long underwear that didn't do shit, and those wool socks that were not warm at all, and you'd go out and freeze your dick off.
Cotton wool. Yeah.
Yep. Cotton, baby. Put the cotton on.
Oh man.
I never had anything nice until I got older and buying. I had just kind of hand me down whatever they could find, and
that's everybody, man.
I froze my ass off. And one time I went hunting with a guy.
I need to freeze my ass off.
I went hunting with a guy, and it was snowing like hell, and I had a climber, another guy loaned me, and I climbed up his tree across the road from where I live now, and I had on those big old yellow Pioneer seed gloves, the ones they give you, every year.
Yep.
And they got wet in that snow walking in and getting that stand, and I was sitting on my hand. They hurt so bad. And this other guy's hunting with me, and I'm like, just let's go. Let's call it a night, I never hurt. My hands never throbbed so bad. I don't know how. I mean, they were freaking blue time I got out of there. And I'm like, I don't get it. I had Pioneer gloves. Some gloves I ever had.
2 pair of jerseys, one stuffed inside the other one, and it was like this shouldn't.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, get those 6-finger jerseys. Just turn them over.
Yep.
I don't know. Hey, I'm gonna try to maybe get that little bow out, and it's not a little bow. It's about this tall. If I can get her tuned up and shooting accurate 20 yards, I wouldn't mind taking out a time or two, seeing if I can't stick one with it.
You're going to do it. I have faith in you. You're going to do it for sure.
So when Jared gets here, I'll be bucked out on spikes.
Yeah. Hey. Michigan 11 points. We call them Michigan 11 points around here. Right?
11 point.
I don't know. I kind of like what Blicey calls them, chili bucks.
Yeah. Yeah, I like that.
There's a father-in-law or whatever, chili bucks.
Yeah. Yeah, buck for the chili at deer camp, right? So
I told somebody the other day, somebody was going off about something because you don't want to eat them big bucks. Them big bucks, they taste bad. You don't want them. And I said, the only reason people who say that big bucks taste bad is because they can't kill big bucks.
Sausage buck.
There's some merit there.
Yeah. Everybody, them big ones don't taste good. I've eaten some old. I mean, they're good. They're cooked right. I think I made somebody mad with it. I'm not trying to be cocky or nothing. I've been very, very lucky with what I've done, but it was just kind of like, you hear that a lot. All them big ones don't taste good. And I'm like, I've eaten some pretty big ones.
Yeah, you got a good thing going down there, man. It's just cool to come see a different part of the world where, I mean, you're more obsessed with whitetail than I am, than Andy is, than most people. And we're pretty obsessed. But like, it's just cool to come see somebody and meet somebody at ATA show where I met you who's been into this so hard for so long. Your dad, your parents, they talk about you like, yeah, he's been nuts about it since he was a kid. He's crazy. Like this is what he wants to do. And it's cool. And you're making like right now in your background, I can see it's going to be,
I hope.
Continue
I hate to have to
be
quit
part
my
of
day
your life.
job to play deer all day, but if it comes out, I'll do it. But
exactly.
I don't know. I don't want to burn myself out on it though. But
no, don't do that.
Start small and just grow it as you want.
This is definitely one of those things that I should have done. I should have listened to everybody years ago and done.
It's all right. You're doing it now.
Coulda, woulda, shoulda. There you are. You're good.
Yep. I bought the podcast website domain name, etc. a year before I recorded a podcast. Like, and you know how saturated the podcast market is. Like, I screwed that up big time. Like,
Actually, no, I didn't. Like, I'm starting a podcast. I'm like, what's that? Like a fishing reel?
Well, that's your age, but you go a little younger. You know, it's like just afraid to take the first step. I guess is probably what I was or whatever. It's just man, been done it 3 years before that. You know, it's just
Same.
better time to start now than never. That's for sure.
Well, I guess I'll start a podcast too then.
Taxidermy. Talk about taxidermy.
You probably could. I don't know enough about it though. Why is Jared giggling?
Oh man.
Oh
man. I'll be your subscriber. Please start a podcast, please.
Yeah, I will.
I got a lot of subscribers actually.
You got to go on your OnlyFans, maybe.
I said my OnlyFans is loaded.
Yeah, exactly.
They think I afford all this luxury.
You can't get that past that.
You know what OSB costs these days? That is 7/16. All right. LED lights, high rolling.
Oh man.
Highfalutin.
Highfalutin in Southern Illinois. Hey, my NRCS agent was actually from Southern Illinois. She wouldn't tell me the city, but she knew Salem and Effingham.
You know me,
Right.
she
knows you.
I was like, there's this one guy down that raises hell with us all the time.
When she said that, I was like, are you serious? Yeah. Oh yeah.
So what'd they tell you, Jared? I mean, are you like getting millions for this stuff? Or
Oh yeah. Yeah, pennies. No, in all seriousness, it was a great walk. Her thought is forest management plan right off the bat, because I kind of again, the logging book I'm gonna write, I kind of got high graded on the second job. So which means they took all the good stuff and left the bullshit they were supposed to cut and take with them. And the logger up north, he was there for 20 years, but he did a great job. I mean, perfect.
Yep.
Same mill, he was supposed to come cut this, but something changed up and they sent a different crew in. And it was right before deer season. So I was pressured about deer season, going, all right, hurry up, get moving. And when are you done? When are you done? Type thing. And I mean, there's still a ton of canopy. It's way more open compared to the neighbors, but there's still a ton there. So I was like, hey, let's start from scratch. Let's write the plan. You tell me what I need to do, what I need to cut. I know I need to cut, but if I can get funding when they tell me, I'll do it for money. If not, I'll do it myself because I'm kind of impatient. But the thing that I'll do it for nothing if I have to wait. So I'm sick of waiting. But brush management in terms of the autumn olive and invasive treatment, that's going to be huge. And then writing the plan, but I got to pay for most of that. That's probably pretty much it. And then some, maybe some cost share on some native shrub planting, high bush cranberry, crabapple, stuff like that. So there's hope, and I'm gonna see it out just to see it out. So
great.
Yeah, it's great, but it's there. We're doing.
Well, I mean, it's great that you're gonna go through it because I don't mess with any of those government things anymore. I'm just gonna do it out of pocket.
No, I want to make sure I know how to do everything, whether it's good, bad, or ugly. I want to make sure I do everything. Yeah,
that's what I mean.
So
like to experience it, because like you were saying earlier, about the 4-year thing.
Yep.
You're just kind of
so that's the plan, man. She was nice gal and more responsive than the last one I had. So hopefully it works out.
I'm just trying to figure out who she is.
Well, I'll send you her name here soon.
Oh boy, she's probably already a subscriber to my OnlyFans, not your podcast. You should have a segment called "Only Plans." Land plans.
Only plans. Yeah, there you go.
Jordan,
new logo.
I'm gonna run with that.
We're gonna have hats. Only plans.
I'm gonna run with that. Everybody already took the land plan name, so I'm gonna run with Only Plans.
I'm scared to Google Only Plans.
Yeah, I'll do it.
Just scared what might come up.
Well, you know what? Could be a whole new deal. What kind of plans? I don't know, but I like that. I mean, I'm excited. I'm excited for this fall. I'm ready for spring to be done. Spring is my busiest time.
Andy's laughing. I'm scared to ask.
I'm trying to switch gears here. Andy's giggling. Oh, this is bad.
Only plans is a term that describes the act of repeatedly planning dates with someone and then consistently following or not following through. So that's probably not the right thing for.
That sounds like NRCS all day long.
Yeah, no, Only plans.
Well,
this
got off the rails quick.
You've been busy.
Yeah, it's all good. Kids and all that stuff. Yeah, no, it's great. Did a a dual funeral yesterday for the grandparents. Got that, did that. And yeah, so now it's just wrapping up a couple more plans and then being done and just cutting. I'm going to be cutting trees all summer. So
how's the Northern 70 looking?
we're going up in 2 weeks. You won't be there. My dad already gave me shit for you.
I figured as much.
And we're going to go get a dozer and fill that out. So yeah, it's going to be a bunch of work, but we're going to have fun.
Who do you got coming?
My dad.
That's it?
Yep.
Sounds like you
Pat,
just
Pat Cross might come, but
okay.
Everybody else bailed. So
I mean, if I didn't have all those people staying at my house for TAC, I'd be there.
Yeah.
Something
okay.
else I do have going on. Sorry,
what's that?
I was going to say something else that I got going on. I got that track hoe back here working in the bottoms, Jared, having that whole south end of that bottom recut and that ditch moved, trying to get all that. It demolished that clover plot, but trying to get the water to quit blowing out like it's doing. But it's been so muddy back here now. The track hoe's just been sitting there for like a month. But it's been back
define a track hoe.
It's on tracks and it's got a hoe.
Excavator.
Like a mini excavator?
Excavator, but it's not mini, it's a great big excavator. It's like a backhoe on tracks, track hoe.
Yeah, well, you guys talk different, but I get it.
What would you
just because we learn ourselves different? No, Shannon's had it back here. He had Micah back here working, and he started doing real good. But the rain ain't helping by no means. But trying to get that, because that you go down the South Gap, or you go down the bottom of the hill, it got to where you couldn't even. I had to put reflective stakes up just keep it from falling, and tip the tractor over pretty damn easy. So that's all been changed out and tore out. Which, if that ever gets finished, or I can get some clover or something wheat maybe this winter going in on that, so I have to hold it together. I'm probably not going to mess with the log and stuff much this year till that guy's out. But this year is going to be more get out what I can and basically clean up and patch things. Like I said, I'll wake up tomorrow. It'll be November at this rate. So it's going to look a little different when you get here, but hopefully everything.
Well, y'all needed that down there, though. You need that track hoe in there. And I mean, it's been washing out for years. So it would happen.
We don't get lower rains anymore. We get 5 inches, Last 4th of July, we got 7.5 inches that one night.
Wow.
We didn't have shit like this when I was a kid. It's just been, since you and I kind of been hanging out last 5 years, 7 years, we had some really, really wet springs and wet summers. It's just, I don't know, been odd.
You get torrential downpours, you get tornadoes, and then you get drought.
Pretty much, yeah. You about nailed it. I think there was an earthquake last week in Effingham. North Effingham, yeah.
Oh, great.
Yeah. We haven't got the hurricane this year yet.
Is Jesse's bar still standing or no?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I think it was just a little one. I just heard it on the radio. I didn't feel nothing. But Jesse's in Vegas right now at a Bitcoin convention or something. Seriously.
Hey, man. He's doing
I believe it. I've only met him once, but I believe it.
Yeah, he's doing that. And I actually got his deer. I didn't mount it. A guy I know does skull mounts, and he does them for a really good price. So I'm not even going to mess with it. But I got Jesse's deer back the other day. I hadn't dropped it off to him yet. But it's a really nice old deer. He's busted up, but he's old and heavy. He's like, I don't know. I probably shouldn't have shot him. I'm like, that deer's like a dinosaur.
Oh, it's a big deer.
Older than hell.
It's a big deer.
Yeah, it's like 22 wide. It's like freaking got 4 inches around the beam up past the freaking 3 on it. It's like, dude, that deer's a hammer. He's like, oh, he wouldn't. He's never the big one, but
I'd be happier than a pig in shit to shoot that deer down there.
Oh, dude, the head on was huge. It was definitely an old deer. He got him a little honey hole up there. He's got a good piece, and he got it bought. So I think you're going to see some more coming out of him. He's kind of got rid of the bow shop and kind of got things slowed down a little bit. The kid's getting older. He's taking them with him. I think you're going to start seeing him get back into it. Because he honestly didn't hunt that much for the years when we started hanging out. He just once or twice a month he'd come down, and that was it. But,
we'll have to get him on here. He'd be a great guest.
Yeah.
I don't know if you got enough battery. Well, you just get him and Dusty on there and just sit back.
We got solar.
Him and Dusty, bunch of beers, be a good time.
Only plans.
Only pods.
Only pods. Wonder if any of them prisoners got out yet. You got any new fans? You got any new numbers?
That's such a great story. Oh man. Our buddy is last story. Our buddy is a prison guard. I met him through Jordan down there. He's one of Jordan's neighbors and friends down there. Great dude. I love that guy. And it's wearing a Habitat podcast hat in the prison. Right, Jordan? You should take the story over from here.
He had it on at work, I guess, somehow, some reason. And a couple of them inmates were like, what is that? What's Habitat? He's like, Habitat podcast. It's a podcast. And they're like, podcast? He's like, yeah, a podcast. Like, what's that? He's like, oh, you've been in here a while. So a podcast he explains it to him. Buddy's got one, does hunting and land plans and designing property. He's like, oh, man, that sounds cool. I'll definitely check that out when I get out of here. So Dusty goes, Jared, I probably got you several new listeners. It's going to be a few years, but you probably got some new listeners coming. He's like, I'm definitely going to check that out when I get out of here.
In 5 to 10, 20 to life.
2065, I'm going to have a new listener. I can't wait. I love it. Hey, man, I'll take what I can get. That's a great story.
Long-time listener, first-time caller.
Yep.
But nope, that's what I've got stuff going in 15 different directions, man. Just living it.
Well, keep it up, dude. I appreciate you coming on, and I always get to check in with our Illinois crew member down there. He's, man, doing big things, and I can't wait to see you here in, I don't know, a few months at this point. So
yeah, I say make sure you get your tags, which I know you can buy them over the counter too, I think now, but just for peace of mind. Is that in June?
I don't think I'm there yet, but it's probably pretty close. Yeah, it's very close.
Yeah.
Okay. And just you're going to come first season of 3-day, you think?
Yep.
That's not going to interfere with your Michigan deal?
It will. It'll shorten it up, but we work the Michigan deer camp pretty hard, so we will make sure to get all the fun times in before I come down.
Okay. All right. Just keep me in touch because I'll probably still be screwing around trying to find something else to do. So
will do, buddy. Will do.
Andy, you take care. You were really dirty in that Facebook picture the other day. I don't know what that was all about.
That was 8 acres of sorghum packed with the Packer Max. 4-foot Packer Max on 8 acres. It took me a little time and it was a little dry.
Looks like you were hauling ass.
I was hauling ass. I was running like 18, 20 mile an hour.
Just flying.
Just flying across the field. I'm like, get this shit. I'm so bored of turning left. Yeah, I'm up. I'm 100% planted though. 100%. Everything's in the ground.
I'm not even 100% farm planted yet, let alone food plot.
When all you gotta do is food plots now, it's pretty easy.
Yeah.
Except for when it rains and rains.
Yeah, we don't. It doesn't rain here. So
we even got that Forrest Gump rain that come up from the ground.
It was good to catch up, boys.
Yep, you too, man. Take care.
All right, boys. Adios. Thanks, Jordan. Thanks, Andy. See you, boys.
Thank you for tuning in to the Habitat Podcast. We really do appreciate you guys coming back every week to get this awesome Habitat content. And we would appreciate it if you went to iTunes, Spotify, wherever you listen to this podcast, and leave us a 5-star review. That helps us continue to grow and trend in the right direction, attract new listeners, and help us provide better content in the future. Guys, we have a website full of resources. We have a blog on the website. We have YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, all linked up at habitatpodcast.com. Our land plan services, merchandise, decals, hats, t-shirts, and I give away a free 5-inch decal to anyone who leaves us a review on Apple iTunes. Really appreciate it. I want to thank our partners, Downburst Cedars, Vitalize Seed Company, Morse Nursery, Packer Max Cultipackers, Stealth Outdoors, First Light Latitude Outdoors, United Country Midwest Lifestyle Properties, and Exodus Outdoor Gear. Thanks again, guys. We'll be back next week with another great episode of the Habitat Podcast. Thanks for tuning in.